Well, hello there, Pentecostalians. How are you doing? Yay, God! That was my Dora the Explorer moment. I hope you enjoyed that. Anyways, sorry, let's just switch gears into not being it. Anyways, so I want to talk about something here that's really stinking obvious and has become painstakingly obvious in current times. And that is that things change. I know, right? Your mind is literally blown. Yes, things change all the time around us, 24/7, constantly, nonstop, all the time. And you never know if you're doing the right thing or if things are doing the wrong things, and it's just so long and oh my goodness, it's a lot, okay? 2020, year of changes. Maybe that's what it'll be described as in the history books, and hopefully not the insane year of civil unrest and craziness. But anyways, besides the point, we're talking about our families during this month because you know what we're trying to get you ready for? Thanksgiving. Yeah, Thanksgiving's around the corner, and that means family drama is also around the corner. Now, speaking about changes, a lot of times these changes can be expected, right? Like you're expected that one day you'll go to high school from middle school or from high school to a job or college. Those are expected changes, but a lot of times there are unexpected changes that we did not anticipate. And that happens a lot with family. So that's what we're going to be digging into today, of how unexpected changes can radically transform and change, well, just everything around us. So when we're talking about change, a lot of us don't like change. Even if we think we like change, we really don't. We are creatures of habit. We love things to be the same. We love things to be consistent. We want to know what to expect so our anxiety doesn't peak. I think all of us resonate with that. We want someone to be a consistent person in our life, or we want some place to be a consistent place in our life. But I think we can all agree we want our family to be consistent. So that's why when things change in a family dynamic, it tends to be more challenging. We have situations of parents get divorced, or a sibling goes off to college, or a sibling moves away, or a parent decides to just up and leave. There are so many situations like this that can change your family dynamic, and it hits closer to home than any other change. So the question is, how can you be prepared for unexpected changes? I know you're like, Walker, that makes literally no sense. Yeah, I'm going to teach you right now how to be prepared for unexpected changes. I hope you got your notebooks out because this is life lesson experience from Walker. Just kidding, it's really not from me. We're going to be in Ecclesiastes again, and just looking where King Solomon wrote some great wisdom for all of us. So Solomon wrote a lot about his life and his wisdom and experience that he had in Ecclesiastes. So, no surprise, Solomon writes about change because change has happened to humanity since the beginning of humanity. So, Solomon writes this in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 through 8. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. It's like, King Solomon, you had a lot of time, my dude. That was my stupid dad joke. You're welcome. Anyways, but Solomon's writing here, man, there is a time for everything on this earth, and it's going to happen. It is going to happen. Every bit of this is going to happen to you at some point in your life. So you've got to be willing to take it on and embrace it. That doesn't mean that, like, hey, we don't have to sugarcoat nothing. Like, we can say that these moments are crap and they suck. That's all right. You know, like, it's cool to be in a realization that the moment you are living in is not great. So to answer what do we do with all this changing, we look into a verse in Isaiah. In Isaiah 43 verse 2, it says, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you, referring to God. I will be with you, and when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. God is making a promise that He is consistent and there with us no matter what comes our way. No matter if we are in the waters and the river is overflowing, pushing us down, trying to take us downstream, God is a rock-solid consistent amongst the chaos. Ultimately, what we have to do is that truth that's in Isaiah there, is to look at all the changes in our life and the changes that happen in our families and realize that God is the consistent. And when you are looking at how God is the consistent, your perspective, your mentality changes on how you view change itself. Isn't that amazing? That God can take chaos and changes and change us in the midst of that. So 3 things. First is understand that change will happen. Things are going to change. Things are going to be different. A lot's going to change in your life. We have to understand that. That's why that verse in Ecclesiastes is so important. King Solomon writes, there is a time and place in every aspect of our life where something is going to change. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen to you. It's going to happen to me. It's already happening to us. Why do we think it would stop now? It's going to just continue to change constantly and at an increased and faster rate every day. This is what happens. We don't have to get caught up in that, though. We can be better prepared for the change by understanding that the change is going to happen. We may not know when it will happen, but we know that it will happen. Secondly is just know that God is with you. And I know, like, as Christians all the time, if you're a Christian, you've probably heard this 1,000 times. And if not, like, this is an amazing truth for you to hold on to. But God is with you. That verse in Isaiah, no matter what is happening in your life, God is with you. Things may be changing. Things may be drastically different than they ever have been before. But that doesn't mean God has left you. That doesn't mean God is somewhere off in a distant world. No, God is still there. God is still God. And He's still there for you. Third and lastly, guys, is the realization and being open to God changing you in the change. For you to realize that God, and having the long-term perspective, that this isn't it, that this isn't the end of it all, that this change is not a defining moment by you just becoming overwhelmed. It's a defining moment by God using that change for you to change. And you can change for the better. You just have to stay in that truth that God is with you and hold on to that, and you can overcome it. You can take that change head on. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be super fun a lot of times. And that's okay. We can be changed for the good in so many ways. Even when change seems horrible, broken, it's not always got to be the end. Because God is with us and can see through us and get to the change and change us so that we can see that, oh, wait a minute, I've gained this from this. I can overcome these situations. But my parents' divorce has not broken me. It has given me a different perspective. When I see that my sibling has left and doesn't talk to my family anymore, I see the brokenness that it's caused. That doesn't define that I have to be broken. That sibling hates me and I don't know what to do. Am I loved? Yeah, you are. Because God loves you. Because of what He did for all of us to have a relationship with Him. We ultimately belong to the family of God. And when we hold on to that truth, all the changes in our family, all the changes in our life become smaller and more insignificant. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't feel certain ways, because listen guys, hey, it is human emotions. And the changes, with a lot of changes comes grief, and you got to work through that grief. It's biblical to work through grief. It's not biblical to stay, and it's not biblical for those changes to take you away from God's love. And so guys, wrapping up here, I just want you to know you're not alone. You're not alone in your changes. You're not alone in your thoughts. You're not the only person. No matter what you're feeling right now, you are not the only person feeling that way in this moment right now. There are so many human beings on earth, and we all are the same, created by God. And we all experience the same emotions, and we all experience change. So when your family changes, when your life changes, your mentality matters. So guys, I want you guys to focus in on that. Hey, follow us if you're not following us on Instagram and Facebook. We put out devotions and challenges. I highly challenge you to go follow, seek those out, and get connected with us even more. Send us a message, comment to this video, like, subscribe, all that beautiful stuff. I love you all, and I hope you have a marvelous rest of your week.